Here's where the trail, one of many places the trail crosses the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm sorry, I know there's a lot of wind and you probably can't hear this, but the wind is so strong it's almost blowing me off my feet, and the temperatures are pretty bad. Too much sun, I guess. Anyhow, we're going to see if we can make it to Bryant's shelter tonight and get out of this wind. It's pretty awful, and I'm sure the temperature, what do they call it, wind chill, is down there pretty low. So, trekking for Tarzan. Here we go. Good evening. I'm getting close to the James River tomorrow. That's my destination. That's the longest footbridge on the Appalachian Trail. So tonight is night 4. I did a little over 20 miles. So after 4 days, I've done about 90 miles, and that's about 1% of my goal, but I'm not sure I can stay on track with that just yet. The Appalachian Trail miles come harder than miles on the other two in general for a number of reasons. And I'm doing well now as far as mileage, but I'm not taking very good care of myself. And that's going to catch up to me if I don't change things. So out of the 4 nights that I've been on the trail, all 4 of my target shelters were occupied. Tonight I got to the shelter and there were 5 guys there with dogs and chainsaws and beer, and there were 10 more guys coming. They said I was welcome to stay there, but and that was nice, but I think we had different goals in mind. Mine was to sleep, so I just went down the trail and found a stealth site and set up my tent. My plan was to be able to stay at shelters a lot more. When I hiked the AT in 2019, out of 166 nights on trail, I stayed in shelters only 15 times. One of the big reasons is people turn the shelters into smoking lounges, and I just can't tolerate it. I grew up with chain smoking parents, and I'm just not interested in that. It's kind of hard to talk about things on the trail when you're working hard, and the wind is blowing like crazy and the leaves are real crunchy, and so I wanted to talk about Charles a little bit tonight. Charles, I'd like to start from the beginning. So imagine a little 2-year-old boy, and he lives with his mom and dad and his younger sister, and life is good. And he wakes up one morning and his father is gone and never was a part of their lives again. His mother was a beautiful woman, and she loved her children very much, but she had mental health issues, including depression, and her mental health issues were severe enough that from time to time she was had to go get help from medical institutions. And so when that happened, Charles and his sister would be in under the care of Texas Child Protective Services. Often he would be separated from his sister, who was his only steady family. His record is, I think, over 300 pages long. And he talks about situations where the employees would stage fights among the kids just for entertainment. There were no piano lessons, no Little League baseball, no Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, none of that. So he did go to school, and I think he flunked first grade and second grade, and after that there were just social promotions, and it got to the point in late elementary years when Charles would show up for the first few days, and then he just wouldn't go again. And I don't know what the truancy laws were then, or if they even cared. I think they knew what kind of situation he was in. But so he was somewhat of a lost child, and he had to make his own way. And at age 11, he started drinking. I mean, that's what the model was, that he was brought up. That's what he was surrounded with. And he dabbled in different drugs, and he started hanging out with older boys, and they taught him how to fight. And fighting was Charles, that was his go-to defense system. And he was quite proud of it, and he was good at it. A lot of times he would escape Child Protective Services and just live with friends or live on the street. I know a lot of Americans say, oh, this is, anybody can make it. You can be president if you want to. And if that's your opinion, that's great. But the background Charles came from is really not conducive to making success in the world. And those were the cards that he was dealt. One thing that's clear from his childhood is that he is fiercely protective of children. He had a miserable childhood, and he saw the effects it had on his sister. And so there's a special place in his heart for children and caring for them. And that fact was part of his demise in his criminal case. But, that's enough for the start. Next time around, we'll maybe talk about Charles and his case and the awful things that happened to him. And I think once we go through that, it'll be a good basis to talk about the criminal justice system as a whole, because he was failed on many levels. So that's our tent talk for tonight. And I think I'll get a much better sleep tonight. The tent is kind of a little bubble of warmth, whereas I was in a shelter last night and lots of air moving through there, and it wasn't very comfortable. So I hope you all get a good night's sleep. I sure I will. Good night. So this morning I have about a 10-mile climb, and I've been going uphill for the last 2 hours. I got on the trail at 6:20 with the headlamp, and I want to show you where I think we're going. So I'm kind of along this curving ridge, and the top part of my hike is a radio tower. So if you follow the horizon, sorry for the sun blowout, but off in the distance there's a mountain with a structure on it, and I think that must be the radio tower. This is my trail now. the temperature's dropped a little, I think. The sun's come out, and that feels great, but this side of the mountain feels colder. And the ground is real crunchy because there was a lot of frost heaves. So there's these spikes of ice that come up out of the ground and push the surface of the trail up. So this is what I'm talking about, the frost heaving on the trail. And it's really crunchy when you walk on it. So right here it looks like there's none of it, but if I lift these leaves, sure enough, there you see it. And you can also tell because in places there are rocks, big rocks, and all the ground around them is heaved up, so it has the effect of making the rock look like it sank, but it didn't. It's the heaving. Not sure what kind of tree that is, but it's pretty cool. And you can see that's a Doppler weather thing through the trees. Beautiful views over there. We're supposed to get an ice storm starting at 3, so I'm gonna probably push on as fast as I can. Today I'm hoping to make it down to the James River. It's incredible how the temperatures changed. I mean, I went up that mountain and I guess I was on the northwest face and it was dark and so bitter cold. I had to put my coat back on and my gloves and my mittens, and I was still pretty doggone chilly. So it's a constant dance, just constant. So I'm gonna push on. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to cross the longest footbridge on the Appalachian Trail, the James River Bridge. It's been a long day, 25 miles in less than ideal conditions. If I never see another leaf, I'll die happy.